Wow, it is absolutely baking outside. And it's only 6:30 in the morning, which is crazy. Absolutely love the heat, but not when you're sleeping. I had a really bad night's sleep last night. Literally slept on top of the covers, restless as hell. Like, I love the summer. There's nothing more than I love than getting up really early when I was younger, going for a skateboard session from 8 in the morning to like 9 at night in the summer holidays, getting a couple of barbies, a couple of beers, skating with the mates, absolutely bliss. But welcome back to the channel, and today we are officially 2 and a bit weeks out from my first ever bodybuilding show this season. Thank you so much for you guys that subscribed to the channel so far and are following along the journey. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button because videos are about to ramp up. I have officially been sent over my peak week protocol for next week, which I'm thoroughly excited to take you through today, as well as a 300 gram carb refeed today and tomorrow. I know you guys enjoyed the last vlog, so I've tried to kind of keep my foods the same, but show you another way of kind of structuring your refeeds. So there is kind of like 2 options that you can go for when it comes to refeed days. You're either there to replenish your glycogen stores, which majority of the cases, that's what it's there for. But sometimes it's just to get a little bit of psychological enjoyment back for food. Now, mine is purely just to replenish glycogen stores. So since the last video, my 3 weeks out full day of eating, another refeed video, I have dropped about 1.5 kilos overnight in 1 week. So last Saturday, I was weighing 60 kilos. And then the Sunday, I weighed 58.8 kilos. So quite a big drop, quite fast drop at this stage. So we're trying to really slow down that rate of loss, and I'm ready early. The fat loss is done. And this is the really important thing. When you're trying to lose body fat, don't hang about. Get in and get out so that you can have these regular refeed days for not only just filling out your physique and giving yourself a break from dieting, so you're not feeling like you're dieting forever, but also like just for that psychological aspect of, okay, it's not a forever thing. I can get that little bit of enjoyment back and then dig deep for the last however many weeks it is. So this is now my 5th refeed in my whole of my prep. And then obviously I'll start my peak week protocol next week, which I'm very, very excited to be vlogging. I'm gonna be planning on doing daily vlogs for peak week. They may not come out daily because they do take a while to edit, but they will be short videos and condensed down just so I can get them out a bit quicker. But I'm on my way to work at the moment and in a bit of a rush. So I'll leave it at that and I'll catch you for meal 1 after my first lot of morning clients. A bit more now? Try not to come around and over. That's it. 4, 3, 2, off we go. 12 to beat. Keep his arms a bit longer. Here we are then, in for meal 1 of the day at 11 o'clock. I'm absolutely ravenous. But like I said this morning, there's 2 ways in which you can do a refeed. You can do it more for psychological purposes of like enjoying some new foods, or not new foods, but more foods that you haven't had for a while. And obviously replenishing your glycogen stores, or you could just go for the pure glycogen replenishment and having it, you know, focusing more on those like cereals and stuff like that. So last time I did more of the cereal-based stuff, but I fancied a little bit more of like bagels today, and I know they digest well. So this morning we've got 1 bagel, 5 slices of ham, spinach, and 30 grams of cheese for my first meal of the day, and also 100 grams of lettuce and a bit of ketchup as well. This meal is I'm thoroughly excited for. I've been excited for this all day, all morning. The scrambled eggs are seasoned with, or scrambled egg whites are seasoned with chili flakes, parsley, and cumin. So a little bit of spice to these. So normally I would have my egg white omelette and then save these carbs for having 2 bagels later. But yeah, I really fancied a little bit more of like a fry up kind of breakfast this morning. So the calories on the screen for this. Normally I would hit the gym now, but I'm actually going to go to the gym a little bit later because I really like going to the gym with 2 meals in me. So I'm going to get this one in, and then I've got my pre-workout meal, which is also another bagel. We're on the bagel hype today, which I'm thoroughly excited for. So it's like shift around in food, more for the kind of more psychological stuff, but still sticking with more of the kind of refined carbohydrates. So, you know, white bread versus brown bread, that sort of stuff. And, you know, sticking to some foods that are digest well for myself. Like I could have gone for example, a completely different breakfast that maybe brown bread, for example, may not have digest well for me. Pancakes, for example, that I haven't had at all prep. So that's not going to sit well in my stomach, and it's not going to then digest well and get uptaken into my body and that sort of stuff. Now, something I did mention on my other refeed day is when you actually are having your refeeds. Now, the biggest thing with your refeeds is you can have them on rest days, absolutely fine, but the best time to have them is on training days, because you're going to really push those carbs around your system, around your body, so they are going to store a lot easier. So I always will try and have them on my training days, and at the moment it falls really well on a Tuesday, Wednesday. So this is why this vlog is actually the same day as the last one, on a Tuesday with Helen and James in their sessions. Helen really smashed her new program. So we're working on a little bit more of her shoulder health, a little bit more rotational work as well. So you've probably seen her doing her cable Y raise. That's going to work her anterior medial delts, as well as working her mid traps to give her a bit more shoulder stability. She's been having a bit of shoulder pain recently. And then James was doing a horrible cluster set. So if you're strapped for time in the gym, cluster sets are an excellent way to get a little bit more out of your sessions for less time. So you do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, 10 seconds rest between each one. So we got 15, 12 and 5 this week, whereas last week you got 15, 12 and 4. So a long way to go till we hit that 15 on the last set, and the weight won't go heavier until he hits 15. So I'm gonna tuck into this now. I'm at the stage of prep now where energy is really low, so I'm absolutely excited to tuck into this. So I'm just gonna give you a taste test, bit of ketchup on there. Let's give it a go. I put it in the microwave as well, so the cheese is extra melted, and I put it in the air fryer before I made it last night. Now the cheese is like so good, and you haven't had it for a long time. Maybe some red Leicester might be better next time, I think. Now, if I was gaining, I'd be having fried egg rather than scrambled egg, and I probably would have kept the yolk in there as well, and maybe added in some bacon medallions rather than ham. But the ham works really well. It's so good. And yeah, season your egg whites as well. Season them with like lots of different stuff. So yeah, like I said, I've got parsley, chili flakes, a little bit of a kick to it. And I'm finding that in prep at the moment, especially now coming towards the end of it and hunger's really high, is actually spicing my food is almost giving me that kind of psychological of like, okay, I'm actually really full because the spice is quite strong. And my taste buds are changing. I don't, if you guys are on preps, let me know in the comments if you find that your taste buds change. Mine definitely has. I'm not normally a spice person, but I'm having a lot of like chili flakes and stuff, smoked paprika on a lot of stuff. And yeah, I'm loving it. So yeah, I'm gonna tuck into this now. I've got a bit of work to do and let my camera charge for a bit more. And then I'll take you through my pre-workout meal and then a little bit of my push day and into my post-workout and meal 4 of the day for this 300 gram refeed of carbohydrates. Oh yes, every vlog, you know how it is. Oh, so refreshing, especially in 30-degree heat, but that is my morning / afternoon work done. And we have gone absolute banging pre-workout meal. 50 grams of carbs, about 50 grams of protein, and about 12 grams of fats. Peanut butter, chicken tikka bagels. Do not hate until you try it. I did chicken thighs with peanut butter bagel and a peanut butter bagel the other day, and that was bliss because the skin was crispy. A little bit of spinach because I do love spinach with chicken. So I'm gonna give you a very quick taste test. Let me tuck into this a second, and then it's straight to the gym for push day. There's only about 15 grams of peanut butter on there. Toasted to perfection. Trick with the bagel with peanut butter is to burn it so it smooths around the bagel a little bit more. But yeah, it's very nice with a little bit of flavored chicken. Barbecue chicken is also really good with peanut butter. But you just want a little bit of fats to slow down the digestion of the carbohydrates. I always find if I have, at the moment, if I have too many carbs before I train, I don't have a good session. I feel like a bit more tired. So I've got 50 grams before today, and then later on I will be having quite a lot more carbs post-training. And in my dinner this evening when my girlfriend gets home, I'm just gonna adjust this camera slightly. But yeah, this is one of my favorite meals at the moment, and it's excellent for gaining as well. You could have 2 bagels, that's about 800 calories, 90 grams of carbs pre-training, and then you could have, 30 grams of peanut butter or 15 across both, so 7.5 in each one, or 7 and an 8. keeping your fats nice and low pre and post training, but you only want a little bit before training just to slow down those digestion of those carbs so the energy lasts a little bit longer. That's if you like having fats before. Everyone's different. I find it, I do want a little bit of slow digesting energy from the fats as well before I train, rather than just all carbohydrates. But I do prefer having more carbs post-training than I do before. So let me tuck into this because it's going cold, and then it's straight from push day. And I'll take you into my pre-workout, my post-workout meal, which is going to be done eating with a little bit of sunbathing later on. Whew, it's hot. That peanut butter chicken bagel went down like an absolute treat. I'm ready to go, fueled up, but I also picked up this on the way to the gym as a request from my girlfriend because I had it yesterday and she was super jealous. Salted caramel Pepsi Max, absolutely elite flavor. I'm rating it at 9 out of 10. Honestly, it's like the most refreshing drink. I also bought her a raspberry ripple flavor, which I haven't actually tried myself yet. So I'm looking forward to trying that with her later, if she allows me to, because you know what girls are like. You know, like what's mine is yours, but when it's the other way around, it's what's theirs is theirs, and you don't get a fucking see into it at all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out the raspberry ripple. If I don't get to try it with her, I will buy one tomorrow and give you a review on my Instagram of that raspberry ripple flavor. But this is definitely better than Pepsi Max Cherry by a mile off. This Pepsi Max Cherry and then normal Pepsi Max, they're definitely competing with cola now. Cola's just so expensive, obviously it's imported and things like that. So yeah, definitely get on this if you haven't tried it yet. And one thing I'm really looking forward to after prep is getting a little bit more into peanut butter. Like I'm a massive dark chocolate head, like 100% dark chocolate, 85% dark chocolate, all the way, nothing less, nothing more. Now, one thing my housemate Dave has is some mince pie flavored peanut butter. I'm buzzing to absolutely try this. I found a shop in Plymouth that sells it. So I'm going straight there after prep's finished to get some to have with my bagels or in my cream of rice or oats post-workout. They also have some other ones, like I'm hoping they have like a Biscoff flavour peanut butter, which would just probably be Biscoff spread, but if you mix it with peanut butter, I think that'd be class. It is rather expensive for a small little jar of it. I think it's like £3–4 for a very small jar compared to what you get at the supermarket. I also recently just looked into the PB peanut butter, the powder that you can just add water to and drizzle it over. It's like 12 quid per jar. Like who the fuck is spending £12 on peanut butter? Like that is a hell of a lot of Monster Energy that you could be buying for that. So yeah, scrap that off, get your can of Monster and get a cheap jar of peanut butter, or no more than 3 quid in my opinion for peanut butter. But yeah, there is my little rant about the cost of living crisis for peanut butter. We are back from my push day. Now today's session was relatively tough. Obviously got some posing in, carbs went into the right places, delts, chest, absolute popping. At this stage, the fat loss is done now. So I don't really need to be taking those extra 50-50 reps that I would normally do if I would had the energy. And obviously I had a really bad night's sleep last night, which meant that a lot of the exercises did feel a bit harder than usual, but their carbs worked a treat. I had about just over 100 grams of carbs, I think, just before I actually hit the gym, which is a sufficient amount across those 2 meals to kind of store in my body, ready to be used for the gym and smashing it hard. Into post-workout now, which I would normally used to have pre-workout on my last refeed, which is cream of rice. Now we haven't got any apple strudel left, but I do have C&P donut flavor cream of rice. I've got 115 grams of cream of rice, 80 grams of blueberries, although one of them is practically 80 grams, 30 grams of whey, 10 grams of dark chocolate, because you can't have cream of rice without dark chocolate, shit ton of cinnamon, and some pink Himalayan salt, which I was supposed to put on my bagels, to be fair. So I just added it in. But obviously, because I'm shunting a lot of carbohydrates in on my refeed, extra salt is gonna help with my electrolyte balance. Now, cream of rice is also a very good post-workout, mainly because it's such a fast-acting carbohydrate. So there's over 100 grams of carbs in here, or near enough 100 grams. And then my next meal is also around 100 grams after as well. So really kind of maximizing that post-workout window, replenishing that glycogen stores, so they're still ready for my session tomorrow, which will be my pull day. And also I'm on another refeed day tomorrow as well. So I'm gonna give you a quick taste test because we haven't had this on the channel yet. I'll try and get a good mix of both and a good helping of it. Yes, that is perfect. Chocolatella protein powder as well, forgot to say. And what I did as well, whilst putting my shopping away, I put it in the freezer because it's so freaking hot outside. I'm catching the rays, getting burnt, getting my pre-stage tan. It's quite refreshing. So it's almost like eating frozen yogurt, which is perfect. So I really recommend doing that if you are struggling with the heat at the moment. So I'm gonna tuck into this and head back upstairs, and I'm gonna take you through my peak week protocol before I then go into meal 4 this evening. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to share my protocol for peak week and how I'm gonna bring my best physique to date. And hopefully you can take away some tips for yourself in terms of getting your best physique if you're at the end of your diet, or you're doing a prep yourself or a photo shoot, or even just getting fucking shredded for Ibiza. I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep after my post-workout. I think it's a mixture of the heat, the exhaustion of a lack of sleep I had last night, but also just generally the sheer amount of carbs that I had post-workout. I had nearly 100 grams. So I had a 20-minute nap and then interrupted by Amazon bashing on the door, bashing on the window behind me because I'm right next to the front door to deliver some fucking loo roll to my housemate. Fucking joke. There's a doorbell right next to the door saying, please ring doorbell, not knock on the door. Fucking joke. I'll tell you what, Amazon are like getting really bad. Royal Mail are even worse, and Every are just shit. Like, they are terrible. They're like the worst one to get delivered by. But besides that, we are going to go through now my peak week protocol for my first show. Had a call with my coach running through this. We looked at what my past peak went, how well it went, what worked well, what didn't, and we started formulating a plan together. Now, peak week is going to be starting from this Sunday. We are on the 26th of May at the moment. So 31st of May is when my peak week starts. We're going to be running the same calories as my dieting calories, so that hasn't changed. 1,890 calories, 180 grams of protein, 180 grams of carbs, and 50 grams of fats with 3 litres of water. Steps are going to be still at 15k, okay, so keeping my expenditure nice and high. And it will be the last day I train legs. Like, fuck for that, because my legs are always absolutely exhausted at the moment. And if you watch my holiday vlog that I posted a while back when we went to Rhodes, my legs came in an absolute treat then because I wasn't doing any cardio while I was away. I was just focusing on steps and enjoying my holiday, time away in the sun, and my legs came in. And this is why you stop training legs in a peak week, because when you step on stage, you don't want your legs to be completely blown out through inflammation, through tiredness. So this is why a lot of the time when you're peak week, you're actually downgrading your activity level to give your body a bit of rest, recovery, and refresh your physique. So you're coming in to the show day, to your shoot, to your holiday, wherever it is, in the freshest possible way and looking your absolute best everywhere. Not just upper body, but also legs too, and toes, and whatever else, all right? So peak week then officially starts from the Monday, okay, the 1st of June. We're going to be running again, same calories as Sunday, dieting calories, 3 litres of water, but we're now downgrading down to 14k steps. So we're starting to that process of lowering my steps down a little bit, so I'm not having to do so much. Monday is a generally busy day for me, so it wouldn't have worked for me to be able to get less steps in that day. And also we've got to try and line up my carb loading with my show that's on the Sunday. My first kind of highish day of food, my soft refeed, will start from Tuesday. Similarly to a week ago where I ran another soft refeed, we're running another one here. 2,050 calories, 180 grams of protein, 220 carbs, and 50 grams of fats with 3 litres of water. And we are going to be training push on that day. So we're going to try, train to failure, no reps in reserve, as much as we can to flush those carbs around my upper body, my chest, my shoulders, triceps, to really maximize the storage of those carbohydrates, the glycogen, so that when it comes to that show day, I'm as full as a house. Salt intake is going to remain the same. Now, I don't actually track my salt in the moment. I just do a couple of grinds on my pre-workout meal, so that's no change there. But Wednesday, is where I officially start my proper refeed, okay? So this is the first sort of medium-high day of carbohydrates. We're going to be running 2,570 calories, 180 grams of protein, 350 carbohydrates, 50 grams of fats with 3.5 litres of water. So the reason why we're now upgrading my water is because my carb intake's increased. And if you watch my previous vlog, the main three compounds of carbohydrates is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So you need water in order to get those carbs to work efficiently. So this is why when you're having an abundance of carbs in your peak week, you need to make sure you keep on top of your water. A lot of people will try and do this dehydration method. It works, but pushing more water through means you're constantly peeing. So you're going to constantly be flushing out your water, moving those carbs around efficiently, and then you can cut your water off before show day, and that will do the same job. So we're running 3.5 litres of water, and we're doing 12,000 steps. So we've gone down from 14 to 12, so another less than 2,000 steps there. And it's a pull day again, training, no reps in reserve here. So as normal, no changes there. With an extra grind of salt on my pre-workout meal, okay, to get those extra electrolytes in, and also just to improve pump in the gym as well with the extra carbohydrates. Now, when it comes to Thursday, we are going to be running 450 carbs, 40 grams of fats, and 180 grams of protein. Now, normally when you do increase your carbs, you downgrade your fats, you downgrade your protein to mitigate any extra calories that you're going to be consuming. You want to be just above your maintenance. You don't want to be in a surplus where you gain excessive amounts of calories, because you do hold water for every 1 gram of carbohydrates that you consume. So we want to keep calories just above maintenance so that we're mitigating any kind of unnecessary fat gain and things like that. So that's why we're lowering my fats down but keeping my protein where it is, because it's pretty at a moderate level at the moment. I feel fairly full with it, don't feel hungry at the moment, so it's all good. This is where we're again running now 4 litres of water, 10k steps and an extra grind of salt on my pre-workout meal. 1 to 2 extra grinds of salt, and no training day on Thursday. This is my rest day. So again, we're just kind of low impact activity just to move those carbs around. Similar to how you would do like a marathon, you would probably go out for a run before while you're doing your carb loading to flush those carbs around. We're just keeping those carbs getting stored in, moving around the body, improving digestion by going for a walk, and just so that we're not kind of feeling bloated throughout that whole day. Friday is my last proper high day. Now, these 2 days where I'm running 450 carbs are going to be very much dependent on what my weight does at the moment. So I'm running 300 grams of carbs today and tomorrow. If my weight holds and then plummets by the end of the week, then we know we need more than 450. If my weight holds and then it slows down the rate of loss, then we know that 450 is going to be pretty much bang on for show day, okay? So it's all dependent on, at the moment, what this current refeed does to my physique, where it fills out, and then what happens at the end of the week in terms of my weight, when it drops. Because last time it dropped by 1.5, 1.2 kilos, and that's quite fast at the moment for the stage I'm in at the moment, with fat loss pretty much being done. Now, the second high day is going to be 4.5 litres of water, 8,000 steps. This is going to be a rest day, normally a rest day for me, but I'm now going to be going back into the gym, and I'm going to be doing an upper body day of combination of my push and pull with 2 reps in reserve. We don't want to be trained to failure now, because we are very, very close to show day. This is going to cause some inflammation if we're pushing balls to the wall in those sessions. So we want to make sure we mitigate that by just leaving a couple of reps in the tank, but equally getting a decent pump in the gym to push those carbs around. Again, an extra gram of salt. And we'll also be traveling down to Luton on that day, which is where the show day will be held. Got a hotel booked, so we've got to find a gym to train at, so that we can train and then just put my feet up. We're going to go cinema, chill, board games and whatnot to get ready for my pre-stage tan on the Saturday. Saturday, we're going to be running another soft refeed. It hasn't actually been set in stone yet, based on, again, what my current weight is going to be doing over these next 2 days. So we're going to be running 5 litres of water, and this is where we'll probably cut water off by 6, 7 p.m. potentially to dehydrate me for show, so I come in nice and dry, so that when I have my food on show day, fully full to the house, full to the brim, and bring on my best package to stage. Now, we are going to try and get an extra gym session in on my settling in day, which is on the Saturday, which is where I get my pre-stage tan. Tan isn't until 12 o'clock, so I can get in the gym in the morning, have a very, very light upper body day to push any more extra carbs around, especially for my pre-workout meal. So that would be like 3 to 4 reps in reserve. Again, rolling with the extra 1.5 grams of salt extra, to grind, 2 grinds or whatever. And it's show day. Show day, again, it's going to be dependent on what my weight is at the moment. But that is basically the gist of my peak week. I'm really, really excited, absolutely excited. And during this week, I'm going to be explaining things a little bit more in detail about any changes that are going to be made, because things will be changing quite rapidly, potentially based on what my physique's doing, what my weight's doing, what my energy and things like that is doing. So I'll be keeping you up to date with these vlogs on a daily basis. They'll come out a day after or 2 days after. It takes a while to edit these sorts of stuff. But that is the gist of peak week. Now, peak week isn't anything magical, but what I would say is you have to be lean in order to get the most out of it. If you've got extra body fat to lose, you probably could just do with a refeed before your shoot or before your holiday, and you'll fill your frame out. If you're as lean as I am at the moment, then a peak week is gonna just bring that extra 1%. So it's not the be all or end all. You don't have to have a peak week, but if you're doing something like a photo shoot, a bodybuilding show, serious holiday prep or a wedding prep, whatever it is, a peak week can bring that extra 1% to how you're visually looking. And it just brings that little bit more refreshed physique, because you're going to be absolutely tired by the end of your prep with doing all the steps, doing, hours and hours, not hours and hours of cardio, but lots and lots of cardio. So that's going to mean, your body is going to be inflamed, legs especially. So when you're doing peak weeks, you're mitigating that, again, an extra 1%. Final meal of the day of this refeed, spag bowl, chicken mince spag bowl. I don't know why chicken mince is also way cheaper than beef mince at the moment. Let me know in the comments why that is, because I haven't actually properly researched it yet, but I'm loving it. Very much high in protein and very much high in carbohydrates. If you enjoyed today's vlog, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because peak week is coming thick and fast, and I'm excited to share the whole process with you.